Hey everyone, I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you about the currency assignment so that you understand what we're going to be doing for the currency. So currency fluctuates in every country that you go to. So for the most part, every country. So generally what happens is currency is measured against another currency for its value. So the US dollar is usually what most currencies kind of measure their currency against. And there's a lot of tools to help you see that. But a lot of things in the world will cause currencies to rise and fall, much like the stock market. You'll feel like it feels a little bit like that. In the currency chapter, we'll talk a little bit more about all of the things that go into currency fluctuations and why that's so important. But for now, I want to give you a little information about currency so that you can get that started next week. So I'm going to show you where it is, kind of what you're going to be doing. And in the beginning, you're just going to be watching it fluctuate, going, why does it keep doing that? And then when we get to the currency chapter, hopefully all of it will start to make sense and you'll have something to look at and dig into and understand. So I'm going to go into class materials. And the third link down is the currency assignment. It's after LP2 because you're kind of doing it for next week. Look at that, I'm early. That never happens. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my foreign currency workbook. This opens up in Excel. You could certainly save it and open up in a doc, a Google Doc as well. You're just going to be copying it and pasting it into Blackboard. So it doesn't really matter what format this is in as long as you're copying and pasting it and not submitting it. Google Docs for submission just don't work for me. So make sure that you always have a doc or a PDF when you submit assignments. But for this, you're just going to be copying and pasting it right off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. And then I'm going to review this currency assignment link down here so that you have a little bit of information. And I haven't read through the step-by-steps, so I might not follow them exactly. We'll just go through this. So we have 10 weeks. You're going to be given 2 million NWTC dollars to invest in currency. There's a list of currencies here, but there's a lot of different currencies out here that are not on this list. Certainly, as an example, Pakistan has a rupee. There are plenty of pesos out there from other countries, so you can look at like the Chilean currency. Honduras has a currency, like all South American countries have different currencies. So there's tons of different currencies out there. This is a very small list. So pick a country that you're interested in. You're going to pick 4 of them, and you're going to track those currencies for those 4 countries. Now, a lot of the countries in Europe do not have their own currency. It's a euro, but some do. So like Switzerland, as an example, has a Swiss franc. So not all of them have euros as currency. The Czech Republic has their own currency as well. So take a look at those countries, look at what the currency is, and then that'll help you make your decision. So what I'm going to do is just take a quick look at this spreadsheet, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 4 currencies. Now, in a perfect world, you would do some research on the currencies, find out which one are the strongest growing currencies. It's not which currency has the highest value today, but which one is predicted to grow over time, because those are the currencies that you really want to look at, right? Compared to the US dollar. So we don't have that kind of time, and I'm not really expecting you to do that. What I'm really expecting you to do is see the fluctuations. Now, some currencies don't fluctuate at all because their government sets the currency to a certain value and will occasionally adjust it. So you'll find some currencies don't change very much. Egypt is an example of one that does not change very much. So in the currency section, I'm going to go ahead and type in 4 currencies. And I was just in Spain, so I'm going to use the euro for that. And I was in Brazil last May, so I'm going to use the Brazilian real for that. I also am going to China in May, so I'm going to use the Chinese yen. And then, let's see, which other currency should we pick? I think maybe this time I'm going to pick the Argentinian. I think they have a peso too. Argentina. So that's what I'm going to pick. if you pick Venezuela as an example, they have 3 different currencies. So that might not be the best one for you to pick. We'll talk more about that in the currency section. So just a heads up on that. Plus, their economy is really, really doing poorly right now. So maybe stay away from Venezuela for that purpose. It's very complicated, and we'll talk about that later. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick an amount that I'm going to invest. I have $2 million. So for the purposes of simplicity and talking to you, I'm going to put 500,000 in each one. One too many zeros there. So you can do 250,000 in one, 750 in another. I don't know a lot about how the Argentinian peso is doing right now, so I'm not sure that I would put a whole lot in there because I'm not as familiar with it. But totally up to you. If you just want to arbitrarily put money in, you can. Make sure that you don't do 50,000. I've had people make typos and do 50,000 or do $1 million in each one. It's 2 million total. I'm not really that picky about it, but I want you to be able to see the fluctuations like everybody else sees the fluctuations. So for me, that's what's important from a consistency perspective. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and convert these, and you'd think it would be hard, but it's really not. I actually have this app on my phone. I just got back from Spain over Christmas break, and I just have the converter on my phone so I can track how much money I'm spending in other countries. So the first one that I picked was the euro. So all I have to do in this converter, xe.com, is type in $500,000 here. So I'm going to convert 500,000 US dollars to euros in this first go ahead. Okay, there's a direct and an indirect exchange rate. Okay, so the indirect is when you're going US dollars to euros. The direct is a euro to US dollars. So we're actually looking at the conversion, 1 US dollar here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to put that in this field. Now understand that on this website, there's plenty of currency exchange websites. You can use whatever you're most comfortable with. But on this website, the writing is in white. So when I paste it, I go to paste. It may paste with nothing in it. So it did. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to match destination formatting, and it'll paste it in black for me. Okay. So if you get it, you can just highlight it and change the text color to black. But if there's nothing in there, that's why there's nothing in there. When I'm on a real Excel, I'm on a Mac right now, it gives me the chance to match destination before I paste. But this case, it didn't. Sometimes this will copy ginormous as well. So 436 is what my exchange rate is when I exchange it. So I'm going to go ahead and match destination. And so now here's my total. Okay, so 436,000. I invested 500,000 euros or US dollars into euros, and this is how many euros I get. Okay, so the euro is actually a little worth more money than the US dollar is right now. So you get less of it when you purchase it because it costs more to buy it. So you spend more US dollars to buy that currency. If that makes sense. And it doesn't. It's hard to grasp, so that's why we're doing this. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do 500 US dollars, but I'm going to do Brazil. So you can type in Brazil, you can type in real, which is actually reais, pronounced in Portuguese. The Brazilian real is going to be 3.6 to the US dollar. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to put this in this column. Paste special. Oh, it doesn't let me do match destination either. Okay. Let's do it that way. All right, so I've got that in there, 3.6. And so now I actually have more than I initially invested, it looks like it, because the US dollar is more expensive than the Brazilian real, comparatively speaking. So, and again, that doesn't determine the value of how much money you might make in this exchange process. If the real is growing, because there's some situations that might be causing it to grow, then you might make some money on this too. So just because the differential is greater. That doesn't mean that you might not make more money in that area. Okay, and it's really hit or miss every semester. Some people make a lot of money, some people don't, and the true caveat is a lot of times how our economy is doing comparatively speaking. Sometimes other economies play into it as well, especially if you have one that's strong and the rest aren't. So that's kind of how we play this. We look to see what's actually happening. I'm going to do the same thing with the Chinese yen. And in this case, it's even going to be greater. It's 6.7 yen to 1 US dollar. So I pay a US dollar and I get 6 yen in the process. Makes for fun shopping in China for sure. So I would have 3.3. Your money goes a little bit further. In most cases, not in everything. Some things cost the same and then it doesn't, but comparatively speaking. Okay, and then the last one I'm going to do is Argentina, and I think it's the peso, but yep. So I'm going to type in the Argentinian peso, and this is 1 US dollar is 37. So that's the comparison here. Okay, go ahead and put that in there. Now the reason why I have you do this every week and post it is so that if there's a problem, I can find it and help you work through it. So you're going to have to look at your comments each week if I post any, because that might help you out if you're struggling. So next week now when I do this, we're going to switch it, and we're going to, you'll see that this spreadsheet filled in, so save your spreadsheet. All of these numbers are already in there. So for purposes of what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this in. Sometimes my mouse on here does not work. Okay. It should be way easier than this, but you can see how weird it moves. Generally, it means my battery's dying. Okay, so you can just copy these down because they're not going to change. You're not going to switch your currencies week to week. And now, instead of doing the US dollar to the peso, wow, stubborn. This is Microsoft on a Mac. It does not like me. I don't want to cut. I want to paste. Oh, yeah. Paste. There you go. The big button, Terry. Okay. All right. So I got them in there. So now when I save this, they'll all be in there. And the only thing I'm going to be doing is taking the euro and converting it to US dollars. Okay. So this is going to change on here. This is going to be, just for purposes so you can see next week. Next week I would put this in here. I would change this to the euro. I would change this to the US dollar. And I convert it back. You'll see it won't be exact because it changes all the time. So it's not exactly what we invested, but that's what we'll be doing next week is we'll take it the other direction. And that's actually the direct, considered the direct translation with currency. So now what I'm going to do, so you're not done yet. You're going to go ahead and copy this. So I'm going to go ahead and copy just 1 week. Okay. And then I'm going to go into this assignment right below the currency workbook, and I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to go ahead and create my wiki page. And I'm going to type my name, because you're going to type your name. And then you're going to paste in your week. And I hope it doesn't come all blue. It probably does. It's okay because I can read it. Doesn't matter. Sometimes there's weird formatting. I'm less worried about the formatting. I can read most anything. But I'll still be able to see this. So now it's out there. So don't go into one of these pages and edit. Only edit your own page. So next week I'll come in here and I'll edit it and I'll paste in week 2. So you're not making new ones each week. You're editing the first one you make. Do not rewrite over somebody else's, so take care when you do that. I do have tracking so I can see it. So don't freak out if somebody used yours. I'll be able to fix it the best I can, or we can carry on from there. But just watch when you do this. You create your own wiki page, you type your name in it, you paste it, you hit submit, and then your name will show up on the right, and then you just go ahead and edit and you can continue to paste. Okay, it's not hard, it's just different. You can also access your wiki from the left-hand side, and you can go into currency assignment, and you can get here as well, highlight your name or create wiki page, and you can go from there. So there's two different ways that you can get it, either in the currency assignment folder or through the wiki link on the left-hand side. Let me know if you have questions, and happy currency exchanging.